is like all these biohacking things, they're great. But if you don't have a good foundation set up, like you're eating like shit, you're drinking, you're not getting enough sleep, all the biohacking in the world ain't gonna do shit for you. So if you're eating McDonald's and Arby's and drinking alcohol all the time and you have GI issues, taking a peptide for your GI issues, you're not doing shit. Yeah, welcome to More Than Black and White podcast, where health, hustle, and higher thinking meet. I'm your host, Brian. My man, Paul. How are you, buddy? Good?
What's up?
Each week we like to explore real conversations on mindset, motivation, holistic health, entrepreneurship, and just the overall human experience. This is not just another podcast. It's a movement to challenge you to step outside your comfort zone and to help you live your purpose.
I love it, Ed. I love that we're here talking to you all about the goodies, man. What is biohacking? Taking control of your biology using science, tools, lifestyle changes that will optimize your health, your mind and your body. And I'm also going to add in there your spirit. So let's move on to the next one that we have for the biohack, and that is peptides. So tell me a little bit about peptides, man, because like I'm not as familiar with this one. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So your body basically. All right, I'll say that for later. So basically, what a peptide is you have amino acids, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. On the side of your amino acids, proteins are anything with 50 amino acids or more. Peptides are basically less than 50 amino acids. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what these peptides do, they bind to receptors on the cell, which trigger functions. So, for example, like insulin binds to insulin receptors, sugar to let sugar go into the cell. So, what peptides do, it targets that specific function. So, I was watching something on Gary Brecka, and I love this guy, so I'm gonna bring up his name a lot. He had a guest on the show. Basically, he was saying there was three major systems in the body. Then you have below that, you have 9 organ systems. And each peptide works on a specific organ system. So if you would take for example, like a supplement or a drug from a doctor, it just basically, overall, it just is supposed to fix the whole body on a whole. Okay. What peptides do is specifically targets that particular hormonal system. And what's good about it, because the problem between drugs and peptides, drugs, they try to hack the biology, but the body always adapts, so when the body adapts, it has to lead to higher dosage, and then you start having more side effects. A perfect example would be you have ADHD or something like that, and you go to the doctor, they put you on Ritalin. Or I'm sorry, is it Adderall? Adderall.
Adderall. Oh, yeah, Adderall.
Ritalin.
Ritalin. For hyperactivity?
Yeah, Ritalin.
Yeah, Ritalin.
Okay, so, sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. They put you on a Ritalin.
You can have that every 1 out of a million times, bro. You good. All right, you good.
So after a while, your body adapts to it, and now you need more Ritalin. And the side effects to Ritalin is, it causes suicidal thoughts. It causes depression in your body after a long time, because it basically just starts slowly kind of shutting you down. A little side note too, which is interesting, and you can actually look this up, but you're not going to find it on page 1 of Google, is every school shooting that has ever existed, somebody was always on an SSRI or some kind of Ritalin or Adderall. And
I've heard that stat, man.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm not saying that's the only reason they did it, but you got to use a little common sense and be like, all right, there's some kind of correlation to these drugs and why people just flip the switch and just start killing everyone. That's a side note, but what it does basically is so peptides mimic the natural compounds of the body that the body's already using. Again, very few side effects. The worst thing that can happen, it just doesn't work. That's in very few cases. Whereas drug, the worst thing that can happen, it can fuck you up forever. And it literally just jacks you up. And so there's there's a big movement now with going with peptides, and you can take like you can go and get like a screening done, and you can kind of figure out, hey, what am I missing, and then take these peptides and try it on yourself. But there's literally peptides for every organ system in your body. And for example, if you have like GI issues, supplements help, but GI supporting peptides can directly soothe the gut lining, where it doesn't affect any other part of your body in a way. So it's fascinating. So
a question for you, bro. Like, so we talk about where people can connect to like the plunges, red light therapy, but how do people really align to getting the peptides, bro? Like, where does that come from?
Is your question like how do they implement the peptides with everything?
Yeah, like how they implement the peptides. Yeah,
right.
How does that,
Perfect example. Just say you come to me and you have joint, tendon, ligament issues and everything like that. Your back's always bothering you. You have disc issues or whatever like that, or you tore something up in your knee, and you start taking red light therapy. You start doing other stuff. You can couple. This is a perfect example I gave to one of my clients back in the day, and it was night and day. Within 3 months, it was amazing. So he came to me with pain. He had a slight tears in his meniscus, and he was walking with a limp, and he didn't want to go through surgery and all this other stuff. So I gave him a peptide called BPC 157, and I stacked it with something called TB 500. And these two peptides, it's like a tag team. And basically what it does, it targets the inflammation, the pain, the joint and ligament and tendon issues. And after about 3 months, no issues whatsoever. It repaired the micro tears. I mean, if you have a full tear, it's not gonna help. But little micro tears, little aches and pains, and it just it really fixed his body. So I always use those two peptides, BPC 157 and TB 500, and then I would take those peptides and I would do ice plunges. I would do red light therapy and just kind of stack it. Because most people that have pain, they're taking some kind of pill, whether it be a supplement or a drug. Yeah. So why don't you take something that actually targets the area? Yeah. I'm not saying supplements are bad. I'm not saying drugs. I mean, sometimes you need some stuff, just for the acute pain to get away. But once you take something that actually targets that specific part of the body that needs it, So
you could target to a part of the body that needs it. And what I was hearing you say I think you said it was a BPC 157, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if that's like what is that more like healing? That's a healing piece, right? That's like a healing.
So that one specifically goes after pain, inflammation, joint and tendon, ligament, joint, any kind of like micro tears you have in your body, stuff like that. It helps repair that.
And B, so like when you talked about stacking certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way with peptides that they could stack to address different things, like
100%.
muscle growth? If it's like, hey, we talked about the wrinkles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? So what I'm hearing is like there's different peptides and different stacks that people could do for different types of ailments or intentions. Is that right?
Yeah. You have gut issues, you have liver issues, you have kidney issues, you have circulatory issues, you have immune system issues. For example, like ADD. Yeah. It's like, what do you want to do when somebody has ADD? Like I have ADD, but it doesn't get in the way of my life. Like I love my ADD. I'm efficient with it. But a lot of people that have ADD.
I don't know about that for me, but.
But one thing to be aware of, like when you have ADD, ADHD, you have a hyperactive immune system. So you have a tendency to catch colds and infections and things a lot quicker. And also it can cause like a lot of brain fog. So one of the things with ADD and if you have ADD or brain fog, you want support for it. One thing you need to do is boost, again, mitochondrial function. You want to boost brain function. So you can do something called, this is a powerful one, SS31. And what it does is stabilizes the mitochondrial membrane. So it keeps it intact. All right. And then I don't know if you remember that we talked about NAD. Back in the day, we talked about nitric oxide. What that does, it's an energy support. It donates electrons to the mitochondria to give it even a little bit more boost. So you can take, for like immune system, you can take like something called TA1 or BPC 157. I think that's off the top of my head, for like overactive immune system and brain fog. And I haven't personally told clients to do this, but I've seen reports on it, and I've seen studies on it. I've watched YouTube videos on people that have actually taken this, and they said it was an absolute game changer. Brain changer. Yeah,
brain changer and game changer. I like brain changer better, bro.
And it's a safer way than, in my medical opinion, I'm not a doctor, it's a safer way than put somebody on Ritalin or Adderall. Like try this first, you know? And so there's literally everything that you got going on in your body, you can try things out with peptides, and give it a few weeks to a couple months. And again, the worst thing that can happen, it just doesn't work for you. But it's such a low case that it does work, that it does not work for you. It's going to have
high reward of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Because these are stuff that your body's already using. Your body understands this stuff. And a lot of supplements and drugs, they don't work because it's a synthetic form. It just masks the symptoms. When every time your body put something in your body that's a synthetic form, it doesn't know what to do with it. And the problem with a lot of supplements out there too, it's like they're just made in a shitty way. So somebody's like, when somebody comes to me like, oh, I'm taking supplements or any supplement, that doesn't mean shit to me. Like, I don't know what it is. What's it made of? Are they packing it with deodorant? Are they packing it with like gelatin? Are they, packing it with soy? Is it a synthetic form? Is it, what the most important thing about a supplement is last name? What is it? Magnesium oxide, nitrate, citrate, whatever it is. Like, you're guessing when you're putting that stuff in your system. Where a peptide just like boom, focuses, zeroes in, targets, and go.
Bruh. That's huge. So what I'm hearing, doing what you're saying overall, because we talked about the precautions for everyone so far. So this is like anyone could go into it, right? Anybody could give this a go. It's not really there's a specific group or condition that should avoid this. But I have a question on though, because like I'm hearing about this, and there's especially when I hear things about like the cocktails or like stacking or combinations of things. Aside from them reaching out to us and like getting insights, right? Like, how does someone connect to a professional that can support them in this, bro? That's
you're gonna probably have to go to like a natural. I wouldn't even say natural, maybe like a functional medicine doctor. Okay. I've watched some stuff with Gary Brecka. I watched a video a few weeks ago. He had a guy on. I forgot the guy's name off the top of my head, but he owns his own lab, and you can literally just do everything online. Chances are it's probably not going to be covered by your insurance, but you can check it out. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But there's got to be like cheaper ways to do it. But you can also that's like a full panel, and you find out things about your body that, again, this is biohacking. Like we talked about before, you learn about your body by doing certain things. You're like, oh man, I didn't understand my liver is all messed up. Hey, maybe that's what's causing my high blood pressure. Maybe it's causing my brain fog. Maybe that's causing, bloating. So it breaks everything down. It gives you a blueprint of what's in front of you. Or if you want to kind of go the cheaper route and being like, all right, let's just, my GI issues now. Let me just take some peptides for my GI issues. But you don't know what's causing the GI issues. Is it food sensitivity? Is it all this other stuff? And this kind of, here's my ADD kicking in. So this kind of brings me up to a point which we should have said in the beginning, is like all these biohacking things, they're great. But if you don't have a good foundation set up, like you're eating like shit, you're drinking, you're not getting enough sleep, all the biohacking in the world ain't gonna do shit for you. So if you're eating McDonald's and Arby's and drinking alcohol all the time, and you have GI issues, taking a peptide for your GI issues, you're not doing shit. So get the foundation done first, and maybe 9 out of 10 times, you heal yourself naturally, because your body always wants to heal yourself if you just give it a chance. Then you take the peptides on top of it, or you do the red light therapy, the cold plunges on top of it to help it out. But if you're like Paul Chek always says, you can't make chicken soup out of chicken shit, So you can't. You have to set a foundation.
True words, my man Paul. Yeah, those Pauls, man, there's something else. Yeah, bro, this is true, and thank you for mentioning that. That's going to be a soundbite. We'll probably put that in front of the video, because I think that's important for people to know. Like, everything that we're talking about here, like, if you're not taking care, eating your whole foods, and really like, and at least being cognizant or intentional about how you're living your body, how you're taking care of your body. Listen, go back to one of our other episodes to hone in on that. For now, though, let's go on to the next one. B, that was some great insight, bro. Great freaking insight, bro. Let's talk to this next one.